Before we begin, the name is placed on the top right side of the screen. At the Northern Yan Royal Palace, the envoy of Southern Yan stated that their princess had only been there for less than a day and had already suffered great humiliation. The Southern Yan came here in the spirit of friendship between their two countries. Therefore, he dared to ask His Majesty how this could happen on his watch. Princess Lan, who was crying non-stop, was accompanying the envoy of Southern Yan as she stood next to him. In the event that the emperor was unable to provide a response that was satisfactory, the envoy stated that Southern Yan would resort to war with Northern Yan in order to rid themselves of the shame that the princess had to endure. Xuanzang, the emperor of Northern Yan, witnessed all of this firsthand, and his mother, the Dowager Empress of Northern Yan, expressed her opinion that the empress had acted foolishly and caused concubine Lan to endure a great deal of suffering. Regarding this matter, she would rule with justice, and she inquired about her son's opinion on the matter. The Northern Yan princess, Feng Qian, who was responsible for all of this drama, was questioned by the emperor. He inquired as to if she had any idea what she had done wrong. The young girl who was standing next to Qian said that Her Highness had just lost her temper for a brief moment. Qian remained silent regarding this matter. Nothing about it was deliberate in any way. To add insult to injury, she had only recently awoken and was not yet fully awake. The envoy of Southern Yan became enraged and questioned her identity, asking how dare she speak in front of the emperor. He also questioned who she presumed herself to be. On the other hand, Qian became enraged and yelled at the envoy of Southern Yan, claiming that this was the harem of Northern Yan. In his capacity as an envoy of Southern Yan, what motivated him to believe that he could interrupt this conversation? According to her, their princess had entered the harem of Northern Yan, and she stated that the matter of the harem was a matter that concerned the family. Therefore, if he wanted to discuss matters pertaining to the nation, he would have to first bring the princess back to Southern Yan and then send a messenger to negotiate peace, otherwise he would have to remain silent. This was a question that the envoy of Southern Yan was unable to answer. Additionally, the emperor was taken aback and pondered the circumstances that led to the haughty empress becoming so forceful and assertive. Since the moment she entered the harem of Northern Yan, concubine Lan stated that she had been a part of Northern Yan ever since she had entered the harem. She explained that all she wanted was justice, and she inquired as to if the empress could do whatever she pleased within the harem. She went on to say that, to the best of her knowledge, the empress had been carrying out terrorizing acts within the harem, but that many people were afraid to speak the truth about it. She would not back down from her stance of standing up for justice for the concubines today, even if it meant that she would be punished for her actions. The Empress Dowager admonished the princess to stand up and informed her that she was in the wrong and that she would bring her the justice that she should to have received. On the other hand, concubine Lan was not as naive as she appeared to be. She was under the impression that everything was going according to her plan. In addition to being known for her superior and haughty demeanor, Qian was known to bully other concubines. Exactly as was to be expected, she provoked Qian with a simple trick and then proceeded to punch her in the chest while they were fighting. In spite of the fact that she had no idea why Qian was still alive, everything was proceeding in accordance with her plan. Without much delay, she would be able to bring her down from her lofty position. From the beginning, this was the plan. With the skills she possessed in martial arts, Qian should to have passed away right away. Qian was told by the Empress Dowager that she had hit people, that she did not feel any remorse for her actions, and that she pretended as if nothing had occurred. Inquiring about the significance of the royal law to her, she asked her. Her command was that she should immediately apologize to the princess, or else she would be sent to the cold palace for a month, where she would be forced to reflect on what she had done. There was no response from the emperor, and Qian consented to offer an apology. The envoy informed her that in order to comply with the traditions of Southern Yan, she is required to kneel 3 times and hit her head on the ground 9 times. However, rather than kneeling down, Qian slapped concubine Lan so forcefully that she fell to the ground underneath him. According to Qian, it did not make a difference whether she hit her once or 100 times because she had already defeated her. Everyone was taken aback by Qian's actions, which included slapping the concubine. Her statement was that she would have to wait until her next life if the concubine wanted her to apologize for her actions. She gave the young girl, Zissou, the order to follow her, and when she inquired about where they were going, Qian responded that they were going to the Cold Palace. Qian arrives at the Cold Palace along with Zissou. The Cold Palace is, as its name suggests, a place that is consistently cold and humid. Zissou inquires of Qian, who is now an empress, how she is able to live in such a manner. Qian is under the impression that Zissou is unaware of the demise of the empress, which occurred as a result of Princess Lan punching her in the chest. On the other hand, she responds that it is fine and that she finds it to be somewhat pleasant. As of right now, she is the most wanted murderer in the entire world, and her name is Silver Fox. She is a soul from the modern age. The skills of assassination, camouflage, tracing, and skating are among her most remarkable abilities. When she was involved in a terrible plane crash, she believed that her life was coming to an end. However, she was taken aback when she regained consciousness and discovered that she was traveling through time and space, and she found herself entering the body of Feng Qian, the Emperor of Northern Yan. To her good fortune, she was able to retrieve her memories, which allowed her to successfully navigate the situation. Zissou, in the meantime, is very concerned about her empress, and she inquires of Qian as to the reason why she does not beg the emperor for forgiveness. She is under the impression that His Majesty will not take any action against her in light of the Prime Minister's position. There is a person who is below one person and above everyone else, and his name is Feng Kang. This person is Qian's father, who is the Prime Minister. As a result of her history, the Empress is in a position to exercise authority over the harem and ultimately brought an end to herself. However, Qian is no longer required to rely on him. Zissou is informed by her that this location is excellent as it is spacious and clean, and it is a house that is both simple and luxurious. She expresses her hunger by requesting that Zissou bring her some noodles. On the other hand, Zissou comes back holding her face and not having any noodles. It appears as though she has been slapped by someone. Qian becomes enraged and inquires of Zissou who struck her. Qian is informed by Zissou that it was servant Lai who was present in the royal kitchen. On her way there, she requested a bowl of noodles, but servant Lai informed her that the Empress is only entitled to leftovers because she is currently residing in the Cold Palace. She then proceeded to slap Zissou when she attempted to defend Qian. Qian becomes enraged and declares that this is unbelievable, claiming that she is only deserving of leftovers. In order to get to the royal kitchen, she asks Zissou to come with her. Despite the fact that Qian believes she is able to tolerate living in the Cold Palace, she is unable to tolerate being starved to death in the royal kitchen. A lady inquires to servant Lai about the manner in which she could strike the Empress's servant. She is the type of person who will fight for what she believes in, and she believes that the Empress will not let it go. Servant Lai, however, asks, what is it that she is afraid of? It has been decided to make the Empress go to the Cold Palace. How could she possibly be afraid of a woman who was in the Cold Palace? Considering that the other servant has nursed the Emperor when he was a baby and that she is also the choice of the Empress Dowager, the other servant asserts that this is the case. It is impossible for the Empress Dowager to function without her, especially considering how much she adores her hibiscus cake. Lai responds by saying that the Empress Dowager has not been pleased with the Empress for a considerable amount of time, but because of the Prime Minister, she was unable to pick on her, and she did this for the Empress Dowager. In an abrupt manner, Qian walks into the kitchen and inquires of Lai if she is the one who struck her servant. The Empress is not afraid of Li, and she admits that she is the one who broke the law. It is her assertion that she merely complied with the regulations of the palace. This rule was established, and it states that a woman in the Cold Palace is only permitted to consume leftovers. Her sole purpose was to impart knowledge on behalf of the Empress Dowager. She receives a slap from Qian, who then tells her that she is still the princess, even though she resides in the Cold Palace, and that she has no right to be offensive to her in person. If she does not give her a punishment on behalf of others, Li becomes enraged and threatens the princess, telling her that she will be finished with her if the Empress Dowager finds out about it. However, according to Qian, even if the Empress were present, she would still choose to beat her up. And all of a sudden, a servant makes the announcement that the Empress Dowager has arrived. Her request for her cake is being made, and she expresses that she is unable to wait any longer. As he approaches her, the servant Lei makes a request for justice. She explains to the Empress that she was in the process of preparing her cake when all of a sudden Zissou appeared and asked for noodles for the princess. She said no, however, because she did not wish to keep the Empress waiting for any longer than necessary. Who could have predicted that the Empress would become enraged and come to this location to fight her? To add insult to injury, she also stated that she would continue to carry out the action even if the Empress Dowager were present. According to what she tells Qian, she is supposed to be in the Cold Palace at this very moment. If she was going to cause chaos in the royal kitchen, why did she come there? Does it even matter to her that there are rules? On the other hand, Qian gently takes the Empress Dowager's hand and says that she remembers when she had just entered the palace, she had held her hand and told her that after taking over the Phoenix stamp from the Empress, everyone, including the Empress herself, was required to follow orders. She will continue to be in charge of the harem so long as she possesses the stamp. Because she is still in possession of the Phoenix stamp, it is imperative that all of the members of the harem continue to comply with her directives. The statement made by Qian is that she is adhering to her instructions. In what way does that defy the Empress's expectations? Soon after, the Empress Dowager becomes extremely enraged and returns to the palace. Qian sends her best wishes for a secure journey and expresses her hope that she will live for as long as the heavens and the universe. After that, she goes back to Lai. She requests that Zissou make a phone call to someone who will drag Lei out of the house and hit her 40 times. But the poor girl responds that no one is listening to her anymore. Zissou should be the one to carry it out, according to Qian, and now is the time for her to exact her revenge. Qian is given a warning by Lai that she is unable to do that because she is the wet nurse of the emperor. However, Qian responds that she does not care who she is. She is going to do it regardless, and she begins slapping her. Xuan is having some time to himself at the royal study when Falling Shade, the leader of the Shadow Guard, informs him that the Empress left the cold palace without permission and caused a scene at the royal kitchen. Xuan is having some time to himself. Not only did she hit servant Lai, but she also treated the Empress Dowager in an impolite manner. The servants claimed that the Empress Dowager came dangerously close to passing out and immediately made a request for a physician upon her arrival at her palace. Falling Shade is asked by Xuan to refrain from bothering him with these insignificant matters from this point forward. Falling Shade claims that Princess Lan is surrounded by a large number of kung fu masters, and he is wary of her because he believes that she is plotting something. As Xuan will still require her in the future, he gives him the order to keep a close eye on her. Xuan wants to know if there is anything else that he needs to know, so he asks Falling Shade. According to the leader of the Shadow Guard, the royal kitchen has reported that the noodles that Top Chef's son made for Xuan were stolen, and they have a strong suspicion that the Empress was responsible for the theft. On the other hand, the Empress is currently indulging in some delectable noodles at the Cold Palace. She claims that these noodles are truly exceptional, and the flavor is not even the most impressive aspect of them. The body is experiencing a surge of sweet gas, which can only be described as elevating her mood. After all of that trouble, she says that the royal kitchen will be more guarded now than it was before. In the event that she is able to acquire a cooking implement, she is apprehensive that this will be the final occasion on which she will consume these delectable noodles. As a result of the sudden appearance of a pot falling from the sky, Qian is taken aback and wonders where it originated. She is unable to determine the material that the pot is made of. It appears to have dragon patterns blooming, and it is very lovely for its appearance. In spite of the fact that it appears to be quite valuable, she is unsure whether the patterns on the outside are hieroglyphs or a map. Suddenly, a cat emerges from the pot and declares that it is wonderful that she is aware of those things that are good. According to Rice, this pot is a dragon luck pot, and it is made of pure iron ice crystal all the way through. According to Rice, he also sealed the pot with an ancient matrix and added a small Reiki stone that is purple in color. Qian is amused by the fact that she has experienced a cat fight, going through airplane crashes and traveling through time, and now she is seeing a flying short-haired American cat. This is the most calm she has ever been. On the other hand, Rice asserts that it possesses sufficient power to wipe out the entire world. His royal kitchenware is without a doubt the best he has ever created. The fur of Rice is so smooth and pleasant to the touch, and Qian thinks Rice is very adorable. However, she asks Rice to calm down and get ready for a business conversation because they have not yet introduced themselves to one another. Upon his sudden appearance, Qian inquires as to the reason he presented her with this treasure pot. It is not the case that she believes he came to her simply to be cute and give her this pot for free. Rice is questioned about what he desires. According to Rice, it is so refreshing to talk with intelligent people. To tell you the truth, his name is Rice, and he survives by consuming a variety of Reiki-specific foods. He inquires as to if she is familiar with the concept of Reiki. Qian is finally able to learn about Reiki after she has had the opportunity to explore her memories. According to this recollection, the Lingyan continent, which is the location of northern Yan, is a place where force is the most important thing. Strong people will respect you because of your strength. The term Reiki refers to a unique form of power unique to this world. Fights are fought with the help of this power. A Reiki Master and a Reiki Psychic Master are the two categories of fighters present in the world. In the same way that powerful Reiki Masters have the ability to split mountains in half and submerge them in the ocean, powerful Psychic Masters have the ability to destroy entire nations and destroy cities. However, the Reiki Chef is even more powerful than they are due to the fact that the Reiki Chef has the ability to call forth falling shades. In order to assist her in becoming a Reiki Chef, Rice has provided her with the treasure pot. I don't understand why he would pick her out of all the other people. Additionally, what would it be like for him if she trained to become a Reiki Chef? The idea that something is too good to be true is not something that Qian believes in. Nevertheless, Rice asserts that she is not required to conceal anything from him. Since he has resided in this palace for a considerable amount of time, he is well aware of the fact that she is no longer the same Qian. It does not matter who she is because the soul that is now inhabiting this body is a different one. What he requires is this one-of-a-kind spirit. Finally, after years of waiting, he has been rewarded with the discovery of a genius such as she is. As far as Rice is concerned, he will not give her anything, either for free or by coercion. Once he has assisted her in becoming a powerful Reiki Chef, he will receive 50% of the Reiki that is produced by the dishes that she prepares. Rice will be responsible for providing the technology and equipment, while Qian will be responsible for providing the materials and labor. This is not a terrible deal at all. Consequently, on the very first day of Fox's arrival in Lingyan, she has discovered that her life's purpose is to become a Reiki professional chef. In that case, according to Qian, the bowl of noodles that she just consumed is, in fact, Reiki food that was prepared by a Reiki chef. The statement is confirmed by Rice, who also mentions that he is considered to be one of the most skilled Reiki chefs in Northern Yan. In most cases, only the emperor is permitted to sample his food. Afterwards, Qian is curious and asks if the Reiki is the cause of the wonderful feeling that she experienced. Rice mentioned that she now possesses his pot, and that preparing that kind of Reiki food is going to be a piece of cake for her. He then recalls that it is not sufficient to simply possess the pot, and as a result, he presents her with the transformation spoon, which is the royal kitchenware that corresponds to the pot. According to Qian, the lower portion of the transformation spoon has a very peculiar appearance, as it is characterized by vertical lines that are similar to tick marks. She is informed by Rice that the spoon is a transformation spoon, and she is instructed to turn the handle of the spoon in order to transform it. In the process of Qian turning the handle of the spoon, it transforms into a lifter, but it does not change any further. Rice clarifies that it is not as straightforward as it may appear, and that it is not comparable to any other royal kitchenware. She is unable to make use of it in the manner that she desires. In order for her to bring about additional transformations, she needs to become more powerful. With the strength she possesses at the moment, she can only bring about changes of level 1. She suddenly has the sensation that she is back in school, according to Qian. However, Rice says that he will cast the data into Qian's brain for the sole purpose of convenience. This will allow her to view the statistics of the Dragon Luck Pot as well as the transformation spoon without any difficulty. When Qian discovers that this royal kitchenware comes with martial arts, he is taken aback. Rice asserts that this treasure is not only useful for cooking, but also serves as a weapon that can be used in combat. He inquires as to the reason behind the expression that she is wearing on her face. After taking a closer look at the kitchenware, Qian comes to the conclusion that she could certainly use it to fight because it appears to be quite sharp. Suddenly, an assassin attacks Qian with a sword. However, Qian's sixth sense has already brought her attention to the situation, and she manages to escape. After Qian leaps out of the window, the assassin follows her out of the building. When Rice notices that Qian is no longer running, he launches an assault on her. However, Qian manages to escape once more. She attacks the assassin, uses her transformation spoon to attack him, and then places it on his neck, coming dangerously close to cutting his throat. He should tell her who sent him because, according to Qian, she has provided him with the one and only opportunity. It is possible that she will be able to save his miserable life if he tells the truth. When the assassin is taken aback, he asks himself, what exactly is going on? The Empress is not supposed to know martial arts. The question is, why does she feel like a killer more than I do? The assassin tries to attack Qian once more after she asks him once more who sent him, but he does not tell her who it was. He also tells her that she should not look down on other people. According to Qian, this is a challenge that is not only challenging but also presents an opportunity to practice the martial arts of the transformation spoon. Through the use of the total annihilation, she launches an assault on the assassin, which causes him to be launched into the air. It is better for him to die out there, according to Qian, because he does not want to get her palace dirty. In the meantime, the emperor is observing the situation at the imperial garden. He has observed that it appears as though something is flying out of the cold palace. As a result, he requests that Falling Shade go and investigate what has transpired. Despite the fact that the emperor has stated that Qin may be locked up, she continues to be extremely harsh with him. He has a strong desire to find out what she is going to do next. Although Qian believes that martial arts are extremely powerful, he also acknowledges that they are quite taxing on the body. She appears to be unable to use it an excessive amount of times just yet. Not only does it appear that she needs to use this move with greater caution, but it also appears that she needs to exercise more. The Empress's capabilities have been severely constrained as a result of her frail body. Rice, on the other hand, is not very pleased and asks Qian to refrain from hitting people with his spoon. In the event that she makes it dirty and hits the reiki pot on her head, how can she possibly cook? According to Qian, that was a situation that required immediate attention, and he was the one who informed her that she could use it to fight. Qian suddenly experiences a great deal of exhaustion and explains that she has just used the ability and used up all of the reiki energy, which has left her feeling a great deal of emptiness on the inside. At this moment, she informs Rice that she is going to sleep and requests that he not bother her. How is it that he is able to force a feeble woman like her to perform such strenuous physical labor? It is necessary for him to locate someone who can repair the window for her, and if Zissou had been aware that an assassin was present, she would have already begun streaming with tears. Rice expresses his frustration and claims that he has never seen a woman who is so weak as she is. The next morning, at 2 o'clock in the morning, Qian wakes up with a lantern in her hand and makes her way to the food storage area of the royal kitchen. While she is opening the lock, she remarks that this lock was very simple and not at all difficult to open. On the other hand, just as she is about to enter the kitchen storage cabinets, someone asks, "What has happened to her today? Why did she choose to dress in such a manner?" Because he did not recognize her, she is unable to accept the fact that someone is following her. She is unable to comprehend the time at which he arrived and the reason why she did not notice him. But fortunately, it was Rice. He inquired of Qian the reason for her extreme caution and inquired as to if she was present to bring him some food to cook. On the other hand, Qian found that to be extremely annoying, and she informed him that he had scared her to death because she was not there for the purpose of having fun. She compelled Rice to shut the door behind her. Rice inquired of Qian the reason behind her choice to dress up as a servant. According to Qian, she was supposed to remain in the cold palace because she was supposed to reflect on what had occurred. Because she was unable to simply leave the palace in a waltz, she was required to disguise whom she was. Due to the fact that she was unable to effectively conceal her identity, she simply changed her clothes in the hopes that no one would recognize her as the Empress. However, given that Rice had recognized her, it did not appear to be successful. Nevertheless, Qian took a look at the shiny components that were displayed on the shelf and inquired of Rice if these were the alleged reiki components. Rice stated that she was able to see the reiki color, which was the magic that she could only find in the material that was being used for the reiki process. Qian expressed her joy at having discovered some rice by pointing to a pot that appeared to be almost glowing to the naked eye. According to Rice, only those who were practitioners could see it. It was the first time that Qian had ever seen green rice, and she was quite astonished by its appearance. The rice was so green that it was almost blue in color. While she was gathering the rice, eggs, and seasoning, she had the idea that they should to make use of the royal kitchen because there was no one present to use the stove. During the morning, they moved away from the food storage and headed in the direction of the royal kitchen. The first cooking class that Rice was going to take was going to be about egg fried rice. Since they were now in possession of the material, they were able to begin with the first class. He asked Qian if she would be willing to assist him, but Qian did not appear to be very enthusiastic about the idea. On the table, Rice pulled out a massive book of egg fried rice. The skills were not read by Qian because they did not have enough time. Rice slammed the book onto Qian's head, and almost instantly, she was transported into the pages of the book. She was surprised to find out that she was able to cook egg fried rice and stated that she had no idea that there were so many technical aspects involved in making egg fried rice. In the kitchen, Qian was confronted by a person who inquired as to the reason behind her singing like a celebrity earlier. He inquired of Qian if she was an angel from heaven. It was a mystery to Qian as to why there was a young boy present. Qian was asked by the young boy how she managed to accomplish that, and he remarked that it was very impressive. Concerned about the extent of what he had witnessed, Kian pondered if she should to take his life. Kian thinks, how did she not notice the little boy get so close to her? Her condition is deteriorating significantly, despite the fact that she was once the most prolific killer. Before she does anything else, however, she needs to determine how much he has seen before she can proceed. The young boy is questioned by Kian, who inquires about his identity and the reason for his presence. The young boy reveals to her that his name is Yi, and that he is present for the purpose of. When Kian's stomach grunts, he realizes that he is hungry, and he comes to look for food. This occurs before he has the opportunity to respond to anything. When Qian is alone, Qian inquires as to why he is there and where his mother is. It is revealed to Qian by the young boy that he has not seen his mother. With her younger brother by her side, Kian recalls a memory from her previous life in which she was walking through the streets. She was frequently questioned by her brother about whether or not she believed that someone would adopt them, as well as whether or not there would be a lot of delicious food and a warm bed. On the other hand, they were adopted by two different families, and they eventually became separated. This was the last time she saw her brother. Taking that into consideration, her younger brother at the time was roughly the same age as this gentleman. Therefore, Kian strikes a deal with little Yi, telling him that he must keep the information he has just witnessed a secret, and in exchange, she will prepare some delectable food for him to eat. Yi becomes ecstatic and makes a solemn vow to conceal this information. In addition, Kian is thrilled that they will finally be able to prepare their Riki dish. Although she is overjoyed, she asks the young boy if he would like to eat fried rice. However, the young boy responds that he has never eaten fried rice before, which makes him very excited about the opportunity. The Riki classes that Rice has been taking continue. Because of the various qualities that they possess, the Riki materials can be categorized into one of 9 levels while they are performing the rice cooking process. There is a distinct color associated with each level. The colors are as follows: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, light gold, and gold, with gold being the highest level. Although the Riki material is of the same level, there are some subtle differences between them, which can be identified by the degree of color saturation. As an illustration, the rice, for instance, has a very light green color, which indicates that it is a high level 4, which is very close to being a level 5. The cooking time for such high-quality Riki material in his pot will be significantly reduced. This can also release all of the Riki that is contained within the rice, and the fried rice will be ready in no time at all. The rice is prepared and ready to be served, which means that the first step has been completed. Next, Kian takes an egg in his hand, and this is the part that really gets the show going. In the Riki pot, she cracks some eggs while raising the temperature of the oil. She begins to fry the eggs, and when the eggs are almost done, she adds the rice to start the cooking process. There are 2 dishes of egg fried rice that are ready to be served after she continues to stir the rice until all the rice is stained with the egg. After that, she adds some seasoning into the rice. Rice is impressed and tells Qian that he did a good job considering that he is just starting out. Moreover, Yi asserts that Kian's culinary abilities are so incredible that it is hard to believe. Qian advises him to consume his food while it is still hot. As Qian takes her first bite, she comes to the realization that she is experiencing the same sensation that she did when she was eating the noodles. She is able to sense the Riki entering her body, and in comparison to the previous experience, it is more intense, hotter, and more vivid this time around. First and foremost, this is absolutely mouth-watering. In addition, Yi enjoys the rice, and he claims that he has never before consumed anything that is comparable to this. It is Qian who requests that he slow down because there is more for him. While this is going on, someone in the bedroom of the emperor reports that something has happened and the crown prince is missing. Suddenly, a screen appeared in front of Qian, saying that she had used up her skills for today, so she must come back tomorrow. Rice inquired as to whether or not Qian had made her brain broadcast. It was revealed to her that she could only prepare 10 dishes in a single day, and that each dish was sufficient for a single individual. Rice explained that she would injure herself if she exercised beyond her limit, and the same line of reasoning applied to the cook emperor as well. Because of this, she was only able to prepare 10 dishes per day, and not any more than that. It was Yi who reported that he was feeling hot. Qian expressed that she had the same sentiments and pondered whether or not it was the fried rice. Rice, on the other hand, informed them that they had just consumed 5 dishes that contained Riki, and that the body heat indicated that their bodies were absorbing the Riki. During the time that she was frying, he also mentioned that he had absorbed his share of the Riki through the kitchenware. According to Kian, her body was feeling 100 times better now, and she was brimming with power. Nevertheless, Yi became aware of this and inquired of Kian who she was conversing with and whether or not there was another individual present. Kian made an attempt to justify her actions by stating that she had gotten ahead of herself because she was so enamored with the quality of the dishes that she had prepared. After Rice informed her that she could communicate with him through her mind, Kian inquired of Rice in her mind whether or not he was able to hear her. The noodles did not cause her to have such a reaction when she consumed them. In his explanation, Rice stated that it was due to the superior quality of his kitchenware. In spite of the fact that the dishes were prepared using the same amount of Rika materials, the noodles were entirely distinct from the egg-fried rice. What astonished Kian was the fact that he was able to actually hear what she was thinking. Rice presented her with a chart that detailed the similarities and differences between the egg-fried rice and the noodles prepared by the chef. Because they had finally arrived at this point, Rice informed her that he had more interesting things to show her. A happy draw was brought out by him. Kian interrogated him about where he obtained it, pondering whether or not his four-dimensional pocket was actually a backpack. The show, in her opinion, was very simplistic. In the sub-world where they lived, Rice explained that the most unique location for his kitchenware was a treasure storage that gathered all of the Rika items that were available in the world. It was by chance that he came across it, and given his lack of knowledge, he had no other way to acquire desirable items. This item was designed and constructed by him, as long as it fulfilled the requirement that he use the kitchenware to cook Rika dishes 10 times. He was able to draw a collection from the inside at random. In Kian's opinion, it was very enjoyable, much like playing a card game. This is the kind of game that she would absolutely spend all of her money on if it were a real game. But if Rice had such a wonderful instrument at his disposal, then why didn't he use it himself? Rice explained to her that he was unable to properly cook with his small paws. That made Kian feel sorry for him. However, Rice demonstrated to her a herbal remedy that had the potential to treat any and all illnesses. The fried rice was the best meal that Yi had ever had, and he expressed his gratitude to Kian for providing it. It was his birthday today, and he mentioned that he had heard from other children that their mothers always prepared something delectable for them on their birthdays. He also mentioned that now was his birthday. On the other hand, his mother had never prepared anything appetizing for him to eat. As soon as Kian became enraged, she inquired about Yi's mother in order to teach her a significant lesson. Despite the fact that she had erroneously understood earlier, he responded that his mother was still alive. Yi explained that his father did not permit him to see his mother, and his mother never paid him a visit, which is why he was unable to recall what his mother looked like. He had the impression that he was a poor child who did not have a mother. I was saddened by the sight of him crying. She explained that although she was unable to take the place of his mother, she would always be willing to pay him a visit and prepare delectable meals for him if he did not mind. Suddenly, Kian became aware of workers approaching the imperial kitchen while they were inside. The fact that she was aware of the urgency with which they needed to leave the kitchen prompted her to take Yi with her. Given that nobody should have been present at that time, Kian was perplexed as to how they had managed to make it to the imperial garden. Yi was prompted to wake up by her, and she suggested that they should stop there. Whenever she wanted to play with him, she would return. Instantaneously, Kian became aware of a voice, and it turned out to be none other than the sovereign himself. How could she have the audacity to kidnap his son? He questioned Kian about what was wrong with her. Despite the fact that this was the worst thing that could have possibly occurred, Kian was unable to comprehend what was taking place. Then, however, she became aware of what he had just stated, which was that Yi was a prince, or, to put it another way, her son. And Kian realized that this was how she suddenly became a mother. While this was going on, the emperor gave her the order to put the child down. It was imperative that Kian escaped as quickly as possible, despite the fact that she found the story of the crown prince to be intriguing. She could not be caught on the spot under any circumstances. Then she came to the realization that the guards had not yet arrived, which meant that this was her son. While she was thinking about how sorry she was going to be for what she was going to do next, she put Siwon down and hid herself in the bushes. Siwon gave the order for the guards to locate her. Kian, on the other hand, believed that they were mistaken if they believed that she could be easily captured. After all, she had been the most successful assassinator. It was now up to her to devise a method by which she could sneak back into the cold palace. The emperor picked up Yi and inquired about his condition, stating that he would take him to the imperial doctor. He then asked what had happened to him. Due to the fact that Yi had been doing well just a few moments ago, Kian began to become concerned about what had transpired with him. The thought occurred to her that perhaps it was due to the fried rice, and she made the decision that she needed to check on him at the East Palace. As they discussed the prince, the servants there expressed their compassion for him and expressed their concern for him. Everyone in the palace was aware that he had an allergy to eggs, and they were curious about the kind of person who would allow the prince to consume eggs, which would result in him being in such a state. The conversation was being listened to by Kian, who was hiding in the trees. She felt a sense of resentment toward the empress, who was the owner of this body, and pondered the nature of the mother who had neglected her son for such a long period of time. It is inconceivable that she was unaware of the fact that her son had an allergy to eggs. The fact that she was unable to recall any memory of Yi was not surprising. Having compassion for the young prince, Kian came to the realization that she did not wish to learn the details of what had transpired with him. Although she considered sneaking in, she realized that there were too many people around, which made it risky. She racked her brain over her choices while blaming herself. If something were to happen to Yi, she would be filled with regret for the rest of her life. She was at a loss for what to do. Rice, however, assured her that she should not give up hope and that she should not forget that she still possessed the herbal remedies that were capable of curing any and all diseases. If she was serious about rescuing the prince, she might give this a shot. As soon as Kian realized that she had completely forgotten about it, she realized that she was able to save him immediately. She came to the conclusion that she could not wait any longer and made an attempt to come inside the palace of the crown prince. The guards attempted to prevent her from entering, but she asserted that she was Queen Feng Qian and that she had the answer to save the prince. She pleaded with them to let her to enter. The guard did not believe Qian and said she was even pretending to be a queen, then attacked her. After Qian put up a fight, the guards were quickly brought down to the ground. Despite the fact that Rice was unable to accept the fact that she had killed them, Qian explained that they were simply unconscious and that she did not have the time to argue with them. The moment she stepped foot inside the palace, Xuan grabbed her by the throat and came dangerously close to suffocating her. He stated that it was her the entire time, and that even the young woman in the imperial garden was her. Qian was asked what she desired, and he responded by stating that even tigers do not consume their own young, and that she, in her role as his mother, had given him food that was fatal to him. Qian made an effort to explain that she was unaware that he was allergic to eggs. However, Xuan tightened his grip and stated that she did not care about him in any way, despite the fact that she was his mother. He referred to her as a heartless individual who was not deserving of the title of mother or queen among the people. According to Xuan, he wished he could put an end to her life by killing her. Qian attempted to say something, but Xuan interrupted her and told her that he did not want to hear a single word. He then ordered her to leave, stating that he did not want to see her again. Qian pleaded with Xuan, claiming that she had an elixir she could use to heal Yi. She also begged Xuan to believe her for just one moment and to allow her to see Yi. The emperor, on the other hand, stated that she had already caused enough trouble and inquired as to how he could trust her once more. The fact that even the imperial doctor was unable to cure the disease was brought to his attention, and he asked why he should have any faith that she could. He issued an order for the guards to get her out. Qian took out the solution and said, "This is the herbal solution that can cure all diseases, and it can cure the prince's sickness." However, Xuan responded by asking, "How can I make Yi drink something that is unknown? Because I do not believe what you are saying, there is no need for you to waste your time." Qian responded by saying, "If you do not believe me, I will drink it myself to prove it." And then he proceeded to drink the solution of the problem. She pleaded with Xuan to take a look at her and make sure that she was okay, and she asked him to believe her because of their son. According to the imperial doctor, who was concerned about the prince's condition, he expressed his fear that the prince would not survive. He mentioned that he had tried everything, but nothing had worked, and he wondered how they could explain this to the emperor. None of the things had worked. All of a sudden, Qian walked into Yi's room while holding the solution in her hand. She was asked to wait by the doctor, who then inquired about her identity before explaining that the prince's condition was critical and that she could not move him in a reckless manner to save his life. Nevertheless, Qian did not pay attention and forced the prince to consume the solution. In light of the fact that they did not possess the solution, the emperor instructed the physicians to not be concerned about her and to allow her to participate in the experiment. Qian had high hopes that the herbal remedy would be of assistance to the prince, but she was unsure as to whether or not it would be successful. All of a sudden, Xuan opened his eyes, but he began crying. He explained that he was experiencing a great deal of discomfort, that he was hot, and that his chest was hurting. The idea that the solution was ineffective was incomprehensible to Qian. Xuan put his hands on Qian's collar and demanded to know how he could possibly believe what she was saying. Having said that, the prince eventually stood up and yelled out for his father. To find out how the prince was feeling and whether or not he was still uneasy, Xuan inquired. In response, the prince stated that he was extremely relieved. The practitioners were taken aback by the fact that he awoke and inquired of Qian about the nature of the medication, describing it as remarkable. In order to determine whether or not the prince was in fact in good health, Xuan requested that the physician examine him. After checking the prince's pulse, the physician stated that not only was the prince in good health, but he also felt that the prince possessed a powerful magic within him. It seemed to him that the prince had benefited from this misfortune. Not only had his physical body improved, but his ki had also grown a great deal despite the circumstances. According to Qian, the reason for his increased physical strength must be due to the fact that he consumed her fried rice. When Qian hugged Yi, she expressed her happiness that he was doing well and apologized for the fact that she had failed to provide adequate care for him as his mother for such a long period of time. She also admitted that she was responsible for almost causing him to lose his life. It was her hope that Yi would be able to forgive his mother and give her a second chance to make amends for what she had done to him. Yi inquired of Qian whether or not she was his mother, and then he turned to his father and inquired as to whether or not it was true that he had a mother. In that case, why had he never encountered her before? Is it possible that his mother did not want him because he did not behave to her expectations? He broke down in tears and revealed that he had never even met his mother when other kids had their mothers to love them. Qian made an effort to reassure the prince by telling him that he is a good boy. It is his mother's fault that she did not show him sufficient affection, and she has promised that she will take better care of him from this point forward in order to make amends for her lack of affection. She inquired of Yi whether he would be willing to give her another opportunity. After giving her a hug, Yi remarked, "At long last, I have a mother. Today, I am no longer a child who does not have a mother." He was overjoyed, but Xuan was the one who was observing everything that was going on. After she had put the prince to sleep, Qian informed him that she would be coming to see him the following day. When Qian returned from her journey through time, she realized that she had not anticipated all of this. He is no longer the only person in this world from this point forward. As a mother, she was determined to do everything in her power to be a good mother. The moment she emerged from the room, she became aware that Xuan was gazing at the sky in a calm and collected manner. When Xuan is not engaged in serious activities, Qian has observed that he is quite handsome. Until that moment, she had never before witnessed him with such a gentle expression. Xuan notices that Qian is out. He questioned her about whether or not the prince had already gone to sleep. Not uttering a single word, Qian gave him a hostile glare and remained silent. Xuan, on the other hand, persisted in questioning her about why she was dressed in the maid outfit and explaining why she was in this location when she was supposed to be in the cold palace. Xuan stated, "It is time to explain everything to the audience." The response that Qian gave was that she had nothing to explain, and that he could punish her to whatever extent he desired. While Qian was curious about what he was doing, he noticed that there was a carriage in the area. In the event that Xuan desired to take her out of the palace, Qian pondered the question of why he would desire for her to accompany him. There was a young girl who emerged from the carriage. Inquiring about the nature of their relationship, Qian was curious about the two of them. Xuan, on the other hand, inquired of Qian as to what she was standing for, why she was not following him, although she found his demeanor to be extremely irritating. Qian was compelled to continue following him for the time being. The young girl stopped her just as she was about to board the carriage and asked, "How is it possible for a maid to ride on this carriage's carriage? It is necessary for her to be aware of her position, which is lower than that."